I'm joined by Editor-in-Chief, India Today Group, Aroon Purie ji, who has spent some time speaking to Mr. Donald Trump, the President, and was witness to what happened inside the President House at the official dinner for President Trump. Chief, you spent time with him. What did you see something different in the Donald Trump, which we have seen him on TV, in press conferences and interaction outside, and today when he spoke a little while to you, and what transpired inside the dinner?
Well, yes, I was very pleasantly surprised. Firstly, he's much smaller than what he looks like on TV, and he's very polite, very attentive. I thought I'd encounter a kind of gruff New Yorker. He was paying attention to everybody who he was meeting. So it was a very pleasant surprise that here was a president who actually engaged with you, looked you in the eye, had a firm handshake, and listened to what you had to say.
You see, usually what one has heard about and seen about Donald Trump, that he's got a bit of a brusque tone and dealing with, he's got a bit of an impatience. Today when you were there during the interaction, the President of India did an address. Right. Did he address the gathering there?
Yes, in fact, after the President addressed before the dinner, in fact, the President made the shortest speech I've ever seen in Rashtrapati Bhavan. I believe it was because of the shortage of time. But then it was President Trump's turn to give a speech, and they brought this kind of podium which they put on the table.
With mics and other things.
With mics. And no, there was a mic on the table itself, but that podium to put his written speech, and he just brushed it aside. And he said, I don't want this. And he spoke impromptu, and he spoke with great warmth, thanked the Prime Minister, praised him many times, talked about the hospitality, talked about how much his wife and him enjoyed being here and how much they wanted to come to India. So there was a real chemistry. You felt that here was a Donald Trump who was actually emotional about what he was speaking.
Did he come across that when he is, I think during the 2 days, he spoke multiple times about how India touched him, how he was impressed with a lot of elements. I think for the first time, a President of America spoke a speech in which there were a lot of items which one hears in Prime Minister Modi's speeches. 32 crore homes and this many electrification. Do you think that the entire praise was genuine? He knew about this thing?
Well, I spoke to some of his President Trump's assistants who were, meaning people who are part of his delegation. And they said, look, they've seen him interact with many other world leaders, but the warmth they see with Prime Minister Modi and him is quite unusual. So I think it looks like that it's genuine and it's special, and they really have some kind of a bond.
We have seen our Indian leaders, when they move from one event to another, there is a dress change. So how were the Trumps dressed for the occasion here?
Well, I mean, President Trump was in his usual dark suit, so he was, I can't remember his tie, but he was dressed like he normally is. The First Lady was in a very elegant long gown. I asked one of the designer guests who was there with me, I said, what's the color of this gown? And she said it's called light rose. So she's, of course, you know, beautiful and attractive. And she was also very attentive, not stiff, very warm, went down the line, greeting everybody with great warmth. So they made a very good impression on people.
Ivanka, because she's extremely popular on the social media.
Well, I didn't get to speak to Ivanka, but she was, of course...
Was she part of the main core decision, or she was a bit on the sides?
She was on the sides, but she was...
Who did she spend time with?
Well, she was seated next to Chief Minister Qatar, and so I would like to know what they spoke, because they were speaking a little bit. But I didn't get to meet her, but she was, of course, most elegantly dressed in a white kind of floral dress, and she's extremely tall and stands out anywhere.
Interesting element. You spoke to him, the interaction. What did he discuss with you? Was he interested in what India does, what people in India do?
Well, it was a very short conversation. The procedure is that you give your name and you introduce yourself, which is what I did. And I said that I'm in the media and the India Today Group, and that we have the largest Hindi channel with 150 million viewership. And he said, wow.
That number surprised him.
Yes, of course. And he says, oh, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. We also told him that these channels are broadcast in America, so whatever was happening here was being live broadcast in India. So gave me quite a good smile.
Was he interested in knowing that the man who wrote the art of the deal, was he interested how well did India Today cover him?
No, he didn't ask that. I don't think there was time for that. But he genuinely looked like he was listening, and he was engaging.
General impression when you were there, the bonding, Prime Minister Modi, him, did you feel that there is something there which can climb and travel the long distance in terms, because these two countries have a lot of convergence but have a lot of divergence also, and conflicting of interests are there, and at a time when India's economy is slowing down and there is conflict, a lot of those things America has been taking positions which could well help India in future.
Well, I think the Americans are taking a long view on this. They're not worried too much about our domestic issues. They see India as a friend, as something, as of course, as a balancing to China. So I see a genuine kind of reaching out of friendship. Very warm, even the delegation which was there, engaging with the Indian side very nicely. Of course, language is a big common thing we have. So I feel it's a genuine friendship.
You see, we heard a lot when Prime Minister Modi went to meet the Obamas in the White House. We heard a lot about he had Nibu Pani and it was a feed or fasting. Did the Trumps really eat here?
Well, I think they had it was a full vegetarian and non-vegetarian menu. So there was lamb and there was kebabs and everything. So this thing about President Trump not getting his meat, I think he got his meat in this banquet for sure.
Yes, that means definitely President Trump, what one will have to wait and see what kind of meat in terms of substance of the visit he really got from this. Thank you very much for speaking to us, sir. So Preeti, that was Mr. Aroon Purie explaining the picture there, what really transpired, and perhaps what was the substance behind the visit of President Donald Trump to India for the last 2 days.